Belai. Howdy, folks. It is now the 26th, well, in Israel, it's the 27th of February. I guess it's 5 p.m. in New York, 4 p.m. Central. Brilliant. We don't have any viewers yet, so we'll just hold on for a second. But Luke, you wanted to ask something as we got started. What was that?
Okay, well, sometimes you have a pay ayin verb, and you say like 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪𝗓, they will help. But sometimes it reduces to schwa, and I couldn't find any kind of rule why, but it just happens with some verbs. Instead of 𝗥𝗚𝗓, it'd be 𝗥𝗓𝗪 or something like this. It happens with alaz.
Like sounds odd. Let's look at it. You got an example?
Yeah, alaz, ayin lamed zayin. And if you look in Halo, it's got both forms. And actually,
look it up in the Bible. Let's see. So we got search, and you said alaz, like to be happy.
To be exalt, yeah. That's it, yeah.
Okay, so we want to
like aliza, yeah.
We want to look specifically, aliza. Specifically for call, you're asking call in perfect, third person, masculine, plural, right?
Yeah, or any of the.
Ya'alozu, this is in pause. This is also pause, ya'alozu, and ya'alezu. Okay. That is interesting. Yeah, I would expect it to be patach with a closed syllable. Like you said with azal. We look at the same search features with, look at that. Ya'zohu. Ya'zruni. That's interesting. Okay, so it happens also with la'zol. That it's a closed syllable.
Yeah, I expected, that's where I think I read that too. Yeah.
We're not going to see it with anu because the hay drops off. What's another ayin root that we can think of?
But it's a phenomenon that it's not too rare. And I think in modern Hebrew you can even have the double forms. I can't get to the Academy website right now though.
Yeah, I noticed it was down.
Okay, it's been down. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to check that.
I thought I was sharing the screen that whole time that I was looking for that.
No, it wasn't. But I think we got it. We understood.
Muriel is saying, should we be seeing the Hebrew text? My fault. But if we want to look at it real quick, here, I'll put that up on screen. And what I was looking for, I was doing a search, like just clicking the search button. If you have logos and you have any kind of form that you can look for. So if you got the databases and whatever, you do lemma, and then he's asking about, like if we're looking at alaz, the word that he was asking about, or to rejoice or to be glad. We're looking specifically for the verbs in the kal imperfect third masculine singular, and it gives us ya'aloz. There's one. That's different. Look, ya'aloz, but we want the plural. Let's do the plural and see what happens with that. Okay, so we've got ya'alozu with the pause. Is it tiny?
Here we go. Psalm 149:5. Look at that one.
So Jeremiah 51:39, ya'alozu with the pause. Also 94:3 in the Psalms, ya'alozu with pause. So this is the singular, ya'aloz. And then suddenly 149:5, we've got ya'lezu. Ya'lezu. The yod with an ayin closing the syllable. The normal way that we handle this in modern Hebrew, at least, is to let's pull a window over and see if we can find at least pe'alim if the Academy is down. So we'll go to pe'alim.com and we just look at la'aloz, the verb that we're asking about. Gives us the forms, and if we look in the future, this is very small. Look in the future tense, okay, third person, masculine plural, 𝗥𝗚𝗚𝗛𝗓, 𝗥𝗚𝗚𝗛, because when the syllable closes, we actually make it a full vowel right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the standard way to do it in modern Hebrew. I wasn't aware that they don't do that in biblical Hebrew. Not feel silly.
No, I
𝗥𝗚𝗚𝗛.
surmise. Yeah, this is the way. This is the way it's also in the verb charts. If you have the 500 Hebrew verbs or whatever it is, this whole thing. I surmise that it was probably in a time when the guttural wasn't seen in there as a guttural. That it was just kind of it was just a glottal stop, I guess, and that's why they didn't reduce it to or linked into an ah. But I'm not sure. Maybe somebody has an answer.
Well, don't know. So far, you see the people are watching. We've got Rasmus, we've got Muriel, and Colton has joined us because Jonathan is out for the day, not feeling well. So Colton will fill in for him. Tried to get Henry, but he's teaching mathematics, like a good Hebraist is supposed to do. We are going to be starting today in Joshua chapter 6, verse 12. That's basically where we left off last week. So if there are any questions, we can field them real quick before we get started. Questions from the viewership, which right now consists of 2 people.
Uh-oh.
Well, we appreciate you being here. What's going on? It's dropping off? Because Colton's he's on board with us.
Oh, okay.
And,
yeah.
And what else? I don't know. But please get people here. Like and subscribe. This is non-alcoholic. It's Dr. Pepper and cream soda.
I know Luke is time this week, but I don't know that he's actually seen my face. So this is me.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's get started. Who wants to begin with reading verse 12 of Joshua chapter 6? I'll start then. Nobody's jumping into it. Okay, so we've got Vayashkem, Yoshua Baboker. These two almost always come together. Vayis'u hakohanim et Aaron Adonai. Okay. Vayashkem is the verb lehashkim. It's hifil. Lashkim. Lashkim means to get up early. To get up early. So he got up early in the morning. They kind of just go together. The form is like if you do the future, you'll get yashkim. Yashkim is the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪 of this word, yashkim. Of course, the vav consecutive normally will reduce the e vowel in the hifil and make it a, if possible. So vayashkem. Because it's built off of the form, the short imperfect, which is the jussive form generally. Vayashkem Yehoshua Baboker. Joshua got up early in the morning. Okay, so Joshua is the subject of that sentence. The next verb is vayis'u. Vayis'u, which comes from nasa. Nasa. Trying to get this erased. Okay, so nasa, you think about the future, yinsa, then you make the plural yinsa'u. The noon doesn't like sitting up against another consonant, and it assimilates inside. So we've got yi, sa'u, and then the vowel, when the accent shifted later on in the language, became yi-se'u. Yis'u, they will lift up, or they will carry. And the vav consecutive, the past, vayitol, vayis'u, they carried, or they lifted up. So the priests, hakohanim, lifted up the ark, Aaron Adonai, the ark of the Lord. So they picked it up to start their march, right? This should be pretty clear. Hello, Adele.
Let's talk about what is the etymology of lahashkim? Because there's 2 in here. I'm a little bit tired, but let's look. In the Halot, it says they think it's a replace. It's a denominative from Shechem. So Shechem is your shoulder blade. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they think it's it's much more likely a replacement for an unattested hifkir, like boka. But the traditional view is to be preferred. And the traditional view
it says it's not a denominative of Shem.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. But it says something that it goes on to say the traditional view is to be preferred to this new derivation, on which see 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪𝗏 lexicon, to load onto the backs of beasts in the early morning.
Okay, so like to put it on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Well, it's generally used to specifically mean lakum mukdam, to get up early, to wake up early. Yeah. Okay.
I just remember this word though, shechem, because it's I went on a bike ride with my son and I was pushing him up the hill and I grabbed his shoulder blade and I told him, I'm going to grab you right there in the shechem to push him up the hill. And so nice. I think he learned the word too. No, but it's a really, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe somebody can.
There's the word to get up early, or to wake up. Instead of lit over, we say lit over today. L'ha'ir is to wake someone up. L'ha'ir is from the word awake, alert. Irani. But there's another word, l'ha'kitz. You know this word?
Yeah, l'ha'kitz, yeah.
It's also, I don't know what the difference is, but let's look at morphics real quick. I wish that morphics would link to Evan Shoshan. That would be convenient if we had an actual Hebrew dictionary that would pop up. Can't spell today. Fingernails are too long. Keats. So it says it's a literary form, but it's a hifil, changing of state. So it's not to wake someone up; it's to wake up yourself. So it's like lashmin, to get that, instead of to make somebody fat. Okay, great. I don't know why I pull that example all the time, because it represents the state change, and hifil is often used for a state change. I should comment quickly before we move on that the sin would normally bear the dagesh in this word, but it's missing because of the loss of strong dagesh that's exhibited whenever you have the shva with the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪𝗏. I think everybody remembers that. We don't need to go over it again. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪𝗏. Omission of strong dagesh is what it's called in the Yesenians. All right, who wants to go next? You got a big one. And 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪𝗏.
I'll take 13 because it's kind of long. We don't want to get Colton to jump in just yet. He can have 14, I guess. 14, maybe shorter. ושבעה הכהנים נושאים 7 שופרות היובלים לפני ארון אדוני, הולכים הלוך ותקעו. Do you have that text? Yeah, ותקעו בשופרות, והחלוץ הולך לפניהם, והמאסף הולך אחרי ארון אדוני, הלוך ותקוע בשופרות. I've read haloch. Yeah, okay, you got it there. Okay. Yes. And 7 priests were carrying 7 shofars of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord, walking. And I think this holchim haloch just means like walking. I'm not sure what the haloch has a function.
I think it means walking one direction, walking straight.
Okay.
They have to turn to go around the city, but it means like walking in the one direction and not returning. Okay.
Walking outgoing, yeah? or the
I wonder if they say something about that in 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧𝗧.
and they blew the shofars. And the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪𝗓 is the unit of fighters was walking before them, and the rear guard walking behind the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, maybe the same thing, walking in a straight line. And I don't know about this, and they're blowing the shofarot. Do they also have shofars? Not just the priests.
I think they do.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗡. These two are both infinitive absolute, right? As is this. Great.
Okay, one way.
Notice 𝗔𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗓. 𝗔𝗕𝗬𝗢 is the masculine form for the number 7. Feminine would be 𝗔𝗕𝗬𝗢. 𝗔𝗕𝗬𝗢. Okay. Let's see if we've got anything here with aloch. In halot, I don't see anything. No, I don't see any specific note about it, which is annoying. They should have something. All right. Good. Hello, my mother. I'll highlight your little comment there. Hi.
You want to say anything about
Poland?
Here.
What's it? What do you want to say?
Difficult here, so we can. I think we've had the same structure before last week.
Absolutely, that's the thing. This verse is very repetitive of things we've already done.
Yes.
Good. Modus Trollens. You see that the name is great because Modus Trollens, in logic. So Modus Trollens, very cool. And thank you for liking the stream. Brilliant. So we'll just move on because this one, like you said, is repetitive, and we've gone over basically everything that's in this verse and other verses before. Here we go, Colton.
Sure. ויסובו את האריה ביום השני פאת וישובו.
Oh, sheni. Like you had it right. Sheni.
Okay. שני. פעם אחת וישובו המחנךו עשה ששת.
וישובו המחנה את נחתה. And then this goes together.
Okay. כה עשה ששת ימים.
Kwasu.
Okay. Okay. So they surrounded the city in the day, the second one, and the second day, one time, and they returned to the camp. Thus,
okay. Do we have to the camp? Vayeshuvu amachane. Machane is camp, right?
Right.
So here the direction is not marked, but it is interpreted.
Right.
Good. Mm-hmm.
Thus they did 6 days.
Mm-hmm. And why is it sheshet yamim and not like shisha yamim? Or is there a reason?
It's a construct.
It is construct. Shisha yamim and sheshet yamim both mean the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. Often this construct is used in the accusative of time, how long. So sheshet yamim ta'avod v'asita kol melachtecha. 6 days shall you work, or shall you labor and do all your work. Sheshet yamim. It's used as often as an accusative of time, telling how long you're supposed to do it. God made the world in 7 days. Shivat yamim, I think. Don't remember. But in the 6 days God created the heavens and the earth. On the 7th he rested. Sheshet yamim. Good, brilliant. Any odd thing there? We've gone over the oddity of the verb savav, sobu. I'll just write it for reference sake. Savav, the root. Pamachat. This isn't. It's using the katon accent, right? which often causes pause. And when you have pause, the accented vowel, if it's patach, will lengthen to kamatz. So what we see here is that the word was not written in pause. This is the standard form, achat. If it had been in pause, and this it lengthened, right? What would happen to this vowel? In front of chet with kamatz, the vowel here becomes segol. So echat would be in pause, but achat is the standard form. Beautiful. Okay. Pretty straightforward. We've already tackled 12, 13, 14. Any questions from the viewers before we move on to the next? Or are we doing okay? All right. Hebrew. We love it, guys. Next. This is verse 15 of Joshua chapter 6. We start with our narrative past marker, Vayihi. Vayihi bayom hashvi'i, okay, on the seventh day. Vayashkimu, that's that same verb, Vayashkem, Vayashkimu. Ka'alot hashachar, Vayasobu, it's the same verb that we had. Vayasobu et ha'ir, kamishpat hazeh, sheva pe'amim. Okay, rak bayom hahu, that is bayom hashvi'i. This is not necessarily Saturday. It's not Shabbat. It's the seventh day in the order of what they're doing in this campaign.
Oh, wait. It is Shabbat, though.
Is it Shabbat? But it doesn't have to necessarily be by the grammatical term.
Well,
Yom HaShvi'i could just be the seventh day in the string.
Yeah, but the Radak has calculated out on which day it was. The command came on the 7th of Nisan. They marched the 2 days.
How does he get that? How does he get when the command?
The death of Moses, 30 days of mourning. There's no time between there. So
this seems invented.
Oh no, I mean it seems like it's well thought out. I mean it's not like but I read it like 3 weeks ago. But anyway, the 30 days of mourning, then on the 7th, the days of mourning are over. Then he gets the command, gives the command to the people. They get all ready for 3 days. Then they go. Remember, he said in 3 days' time we'll march, and then the manna stops after the Passover. I think it's the 10th of Nisan.
It seems to me like the Orthodox position that the destruction of the temple the first time happened on Tisha B'Av, and the second time. Like it seems like they're just making things up. I don't like the idea of just making things up.
Yeah, there is an old tradition though that it was in the Megillat Ta'anit. I don't know if you know this Aramaic scroll from probably before 70, but it seems like it fits. And then they talk about this whole thing is, well, how can they go march on a Saturday? How can they fight on a Shabbat? And then they refer to. So
this was a question that the Radak raised.
Yeah. And they refer to Numbers 28, where you have the bull. That's you have the sacrifice on Shabbat anyway. So the priests do work on Shabbat. So it's not a big deal. God commanded it.
Absolutely. This is the thing about what's going on inside of the Torah. Many of the things that are commanded as absolute negative, prohibitions, mitzvot lo ta'aseh, the commandments that you should not do these things, are actually things that the priests do.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the wearing of like shatnez, the mixture of fabrics, and you look at the garments that they make for the high priest and it's actually mixed garments. Burning fire, for like adding kindling to a fire of any kind of kindling is forbidden, and you're not allowed to even set a fire before Shabbat and then use it after Shabbat is entered to cook meat. You can't do that. It's illegal. It's not according to Torah. You're not allowed to do it. But the high priest or the priest, not just the high priest, any priest that was operating in their function in the temple, was to sacrifice animals and cook them on Shabbat. Like there were a lot of things that were you said you can't do it. It's like the principle, I think, comes from like the idea of the the incense that they used for the temple, or the oil that they used for anointing the priest, that these things were made specifically for those purposes. And if you followed the recipe and you made the same oil or the same mixture of spices or whatever, and you did something else with them, then it's a violation. So that the priests have these set apart things that they're supposed to be doing, and if you do them and you're not a priest and you're not operating under the proper authority, then you're violating the Torah. We'll get to your question in just a couple of minutes. Let's finish the verse and I'll look at what you got to say on Modus. All right, what else? Rak bayom hahu, that is the Ayom HaShvi'i, which the Radak says is Shabbat in this case, and let's assume Savavu et ha'ir sheva pe'amim. We said before that Shiva Kohanim, and now we say Sheva Pe'amim. So Ba'am is feminine, and Sheva goes with feminine, and Shiva goes with masculine. It's hard to get numbers if you don't use them frequently. So this is, excuse me, something that pops up here and now. Why is Pe'amim ends in im? Why is that feminine? Because I think about 30% of the words they say, 30% of nouns have these opposite endings, like av is father, and avot is fathers, and you can't say that just because it's ot that it's feminine. Pa'am is feminine, and pe'amim is plural, like isha, nashim. Nashim is plural for feminine. So about 30% of the most common vocabulary in the language have these opposite endings that we would assume are masculine or feminine, but it's not really the case. Masculine and feminine endings deal with adjectives, not with nouns. Nouns can be reversed. Okay, so it was on the seventh day, which we're going to say is Shabbat. It could be the seventh day in a sequence. And they got up early. Okay, when it says Vayehi, it triggers another vav consecutive. We don't want to say and. So we could just ignore Vayehi and say on the seventh day, they got up early. Ka'alot hashachar is a specific time. That is according to the rising of the dawn, meaning they got up as dawn was dawning, when it was becoming dawn. Vayasobu et ha'ir. By the way, the alot hashachar is a technical term in the Mishnah and in the Gemara, referring to the beginning of the time when you're allowed to say morning blessings. Alot hashachar. It's whenever they say that it's whenever you're able, without turning on a light, of course, when you're able to distinguish between white and 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘, like you can see between the two colors. And then other rabbis say other things, but it's a time of the morning, and they try to be as particular as they can. But again, making things up, like the Book of Mormon, you're making things up again. Oh, I know. And they try to argue their opinions, but you can't really say who's really the authority. Vayasobu et ha'ir, we've got that because we just had it in the last verse of Colton. Kamishpat hazeh, according to this judgment, it's maybe this sentence, the thing that they were told to do. Maybe we could say ka mitzvah hazot, according to this commandment. It's what they were told to do 7 times. Okay, on the seventh day you do it 7 times. Ka mishpat hazeh is missing from the Septuagint, and I think it's with good reason, because it's a difficulty. So they took out the word mishpat there, ka mishpat. Rak, only, in this case, only. If you have a negative in the beginning of the sentence and then you have rak, most of the time this means but. Like if you don't do this, but do this. Rak is used a lot as a contrast. But in this case, it doesn't mean but. There's no negative. Only on that day, they surrounded the city 7 times. Because all the other 6 days, they did it 1 time. But only on that day, they did it 7 times, because it was Shabbat. All right, let's see the questions we got here. Sorry. Whenever you guys can get around to it, if ever, no worries, I can't. I do have a question for Jason or whomever. To what extent is voiced shva actually respected in modern Hebrew? Good question. It really plays with continuation. Sorry. Are there any general principles that I can use to predict when a modern Hebrew speaker will voice a shva? It depends on the consonant that it's found under. If it's possible to join the words to the sounds together, they're going to do it. So, like the word for this is cursive. Sorry. Okay, so this is the word for the parliament. Israeli parliament is called Knesset. In Hebrew, it's perfectly fine to say KN. You can say Knesset. It becomes a consonant cluster. Knesset. And also, so like if you have the word, like in biblical Hebrew, people will say begadim, from beged, begadim. We would just say BG together. We say gadim. If it's possible to make a consonant cluster for Hebrew speakers, they will. If the mem is at the beginning of a word and it has a shva, you tend not to blend it into the next word. So it's not mlachim. It's not mlachim. It's melachim. Melachim, because the ML is not a respected sound in the language. So it's really just something you just listen to whenever you hear somebody speak, and then you get used to it. Not really, not a principle, but it's something that you just hear when you hear people speaking. Great. Wasn't expecting a Book of Mormon musical reference in the Book of Joshua. Well, the Book of Mormon can appear anywhere, can't it? All right. So after me was Luke 4, verse 16.
Yeah, and I think on the blog I posted on the shva rules, or maybe I didn't post it yet, but I'll look. There's 5 basic rules that go back to Elia Levita. He's a grammarian in the from Bavaria, and he wrote about the phenomenon. He followed Kimchi and really made the precise rules of when the shava is vocal and not, that you learn in Israeli schools. And there's five of the rules, and I've translated just the thing there. I'll see if it's up. If it's not up, then I'll put it up. But
5 rules should be pretty simple, right?
Yeah, no, they are. They're simple.
Okay.
It's just, basically if there's 2, if there's a shva, then it's a vocal. If the dagesh, it's vocal. If there's 2, then the first one is silent. The second one, if there's 2 similar consonants like Nineveh, then it has to be a vocal shva. It can't be Ninve, it's Nineveh, or Hineni, 2 of the same consonant. What are the other 2 rules?
Like hallelu.
Yeah, hallelu. Yeah, it's not hallu. It's hallelu. Yeah.
Well, I don't see that the posts have gone through, but I'll check on that later on.
Okay. Yeah. No, I've written that, and we'll have to check on it. But no, it's a thing.
I've got 2 days off, and then also Wednesday I only work nighttime, so I'm going to I'll be able to look into some things.
Okay. But this is the basic rules you learn in the Israeli.
I do hear Ninve also when I hear people say Ninve, not Nineve.
But I think that's probably wrong.
It probably is. Because it has the yod written, right? The yod is written.
It does have the yod written, but it's
if the yod is written, if it's a Hare yod and the yod is written, then it's considered a historical long vowel.
Yeah.
And historical long vowels cannot be enclosed unaccented syllables. Therefore, the shva has to belong to the syllable after it.
Yeah.
Which means it's mobile. That's the rule.
Yeah.
But when you hear people speaking modern Hebrew and they're referring to the city, or even if they're reading from the scroll, they're going to say Ninve.
Yeah. But I think it's a mistake. But okay, so I'll read 16. I'll read from my book. Where are we? Vayehi b'pa'am hashvi'it tak'u hakohanim b'shofarot. Vayoma Yehoshua el ha'am. Ha'iru ki natan Adonai lechem et ha'ir. Oh, it's a nice short one. Yeah?
Hari'u. I heard ha'iru.
No, 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗙𝗧. Yeah. And it happened on the 7th time. Now, see here, you have Vayehi, but then you don't have the Vav consecutive
Right?
until Vayomer.
Yeah. So we could not translate that. We just say on the 7th time the priests, and then we could take this as first position, right? This is first position. Second position is verb, and the third position in the inverted order is the priest. Sorry.
During the 7th time, the priests blew the shofars, and Joshua commanded the people, shout or raise your voice or even blow the shofar, I guess. I don't know, probably shout, because God has given to you the city.
Wow. Okay, so this reminded me, while you were translating, it reminded me of, I'm sure everybody knows the song, Joshua, the Battle of Jericho, Jericho. Okay, so there's a a cappella version that was put together by, what do they call it? Vocal Spectrum. It's a barbershop a cappella chorus, or quartet, it's 4 men. And when they get to that part in the song, they just let it out. It was crazy. I could feel that whenever you were translating just now.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I'll share the link, but don't go there now because you're on our YouTube. You go there after. I'll put it in the description. How about that? That way nobody leaves right now. Brilliant. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗙. Yeah, I think that was pretty straightforward. Pretty good. Are you ready, Colton, for number 17?
I reckon so. והייתה העיר חרם היא, וכל אשר בא לאדוני. רק הזונה תהיה היא,
That's a
וכל...
chet.
Oh,
Chet.
look at that, it sure is. תחיה היא, וכל איתה בבית. כי הבעתה.
Wow.
𝗥𝗚𝗚𝗏.
𝗥𝗚𝗏.
I can't read hits today, apparently. Et malachim asher shalachnu.
And notice that the kamatz is long. It's normally patak, right? Shalachnu, because it's in pause. Wow, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. So, and the city will be devoted. Is that the word we want to use?
We can say maybe, because everybody knows the Greek word, anathema, right? I think everybody knows the Greek word anathema. It means you don't touch it. It's set aside. You're not allowed to touch it.
Yeah.
A ban. It's supposed to be exterminated. It's to be devoted to God.
Yep. So the city and all which is in it shall be devoted to God, to the Lord.
Right. So let's take this as a parenthetical exposition, right? So the city was cherem, to the Lord. And what is it talking about when it's talking about the city? It's talking about it and everything in it. So it's expounding on what it means by the city. Okay, next.
Only Rahab the harlot, horrible word, but let's go with it.
The innkeeper.
She will be left alive, and all witches, and everyone who is with her. All which is with her in the house. Yeah.
So she will live. It's not really the idea of being left alive, but she will. If you read Harry Potter in Hebrew, which I do recommend, because reading like literature that's translated for young people is really good for building your Hebrew skills. It says the boy who lived, and what it means is survived, right? He survived. Yeah, in Hebrew it says nishar b'chaim. He stayed in life. But the idea is that he lived. And so this is what's going on here. Only Rachav, the prostitute, will live or would live, she and everything that's in the house with her, like would be her family and her pets, right? They didn't die either. She had pets.
For
Brilliant.
yeah, that's a weird one.
You want to, so let's read it as 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪.
Oh,
This is the same word.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. For she hid the messengers which we sent.
Yes, brilliant.
right,
Let's
now explain that form.
Logos. Yeah, it's fun. So let's look in Logos. We go to, where's the verse that we're looking at? 16, right?
Yeah.
17.
Is it like doing a
16, 17. Okay. We get down here. Do you see the B? This is from the VHS. Mark, you click on it. It tells you that in verse 25, the same like idea is related, and it says 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪 is the normal form. Can you see the note? I don't know if you guys can see.
Yeah, the note popped up there, yeah.
So 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪 is the normal Hayfield form for this root. I want to show a couple of things. First of all, how do you search for all forms of this specific word in the Bible? You go on Logos. I'm sorry, I use Logos, so this is what I'm showing. Here it says it's got the parsing of the word. If you go here, it says it's 𝗕𝗘𝗦𝗡 bet aleph with that parsing, and it will find all of those verses that use that verb in the Bible. So let's see. 𝗥𝗚𝗦𝗡𝗥 is Joshua 6:7, Joshua 6:25. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪. Those are the only two forms, and they are parsed exactly the same. They're parsed the same. There's no difference in the parsing. If we want to find all verbs that are in this third person feminine singular Hayfield, and they are not that root, the 𝗕𝗘𝗦𝗡 bet aleph, we just click on this one, if you can see. After search, it's the first thing. This shows all roots that are third feminine singular in the Hayfield past tense. Okay, so you could go through all of them, and what you'll see is that there is something weird going on. Look at hishkata. Hishkata, we would say hishketa. This is pause. Okay, hilbisha, hivdila, ifrisa. The pattern is a via, right? The pattern is the a with the accent in the middle, or the e-a, e-e-a-a, e-e-a, he-siga, higisha. That's the pattern. But sometimes you have an a added, like 𝗥𝗓𝗓𝗏. You see this one, 𝗥𝗓𝗓𝗏? Oh, it's going to do something weird here. I didn't want it to do that, but okay. Let's kill that one. Okay, 𝗥𝗓𝗓𝗏. It's the same. It's a karat, but they add this. No, 𝗥𝗓𝗓𝗏 is the same pattern.
No, it's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
𝗥𝗓𝗏. I'm looking for something with a different pattern. Sorry. 𝗥𝗓𝗏. 𝗕𝗏𝗪. 𝗕𝗏𝗪 we've had in Joshua chapter 2, verse 6. What you notice is the mem is the suffix for them, and 𝗕𝗏𝗪. 𝗕𝗏𝗪 is the feminine form. 𝗕𝗏𝗪 from 𝗕𝗏. 𝗕𝗏𝗪, 𝗕𝗏𝗪. That's from the older form. What we actually say is 𝗕𝗏𝗪, or 𝗕𝗏𝗪 without the mem. He 𝗕𝗏𝗪. She brought them up. So this is actually a weird form, but we can explain it. So let's look at it. I'm sorry to
almost
talk
looks
so
like
much,
it's doing the thing that the third haze do with the third feminine singular in the person.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got 𝗕𝗏 is he did it, right? He made it go up. He brought up. When we want feminine, what the past in what they did is 𝗕𝗏𝗪, and then just like with yishmoru, yishmeru, this reduced, which caused this to close up. 𝗕𝗏𝗪, she brought up. So what we have going on here is kind of analogy to third hay. It's an analogy to third hay. So instead of the E of the normal breakdown, because of the addition of that ending on the, so 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪𝗔, by analogy to the third hey, it's added another syllable. Okay, and this syllable where the accent was, the stress is moved, and this syllable reduced. So 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪𝗔. It's an odd form, and it's the only place that it appears. So there you go. Fun.
Good time.
And I think also not only that, but I think the aleph was quiescent. That's what probably led them to the form in the first place. That they've missed this. They've taken as the third hey verb because the aleph is not pronounced.
𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪𝗔?
Something like
Because
that.
if you say it like I did it, you would, hello, Kip. Welcome, Dr. Davis. If you say I did it, you say 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗑𝗦𝗘. Like,
that's true. But we did have a form with chet, bet, and without the aleph at the end. Where was that?
𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘 is I did it. I hid.
Yeah.
So in this case, the aleph is certainly quiescent. I don't know, because I think it's maybe because of these forms, 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘, 𝗥𝗑𝗦𝗘, you did it, that somehow this like just fell into analogy to the other verb, but it should not be this. It should be 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪.
Okay.
𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪. Yeah. It should be like it's in verse 25 if we get there today.
Okay.
All right. Colton, thank you very much. That was really good.
Yeah.
Great. Are you ready, Luke? It's my turn. Woo.
Yeah, I'll read it.
All right. Brilliant. ורק אתם שמרו מן החרם. שמרו מן החרם. I'll mark the words. ורק אתם שמרו מן החרם. Pen. Okay, that's a nice word it wants to be followed by imperfect. Pen תחרימו ולקחתם מן החרם. ושמתם את מחנה ישראל לחרם, ואכלתם אותו. Okay, so רק normally is, like we said, only. In this case, let's see, it does mean only, but it has this sense also of but. But as for you, ורק אתם, this is like guard from it, like be careful from it. Be careful from what is devoted, the thing that is set cherem on it, or anathema. Lest, right? Lest is that you not. Lest is an old English word. That you not set it as cherem. This is the hifil, echrim. Regarding the pointing, when you have this, you can have the composite sigil in these forms, echerim, or a simple shva. I tend to pronounce it with a simple shva, but it can be either one. Echrim or echerim. This is the word for to set something as cherem, to put it aside for devotion, for destruction, so that you don't touch it. Okay, so be careful that you not make something cherem and then take from the thing that's devoted, take from the thing that is cherem, and then set the camp of Israel as cherem. Once you bring in something that's been devoted to God and you take it, you put your hands on it, you bring it into the camp, then the camp itself becomes something that needs to be destroyed. Becomes something that's devoted to God and must be destroyed, like an animal or a human that you've captured and killed. Ve'achartem, this is the word for being a troublemaker. You cause trouble, or you trouble it. You trouble the camp of Israel. You cause problems for it. I think it's in the King's record where the word ocher is used of Elisha, I think, Elisha, where he's called Ocher Yisrael, a troublemaker of Israel. Meaning he's bringing problems on Israel. All right. Any questions about that? Let's look and
Not-
see what Halot says for Ocher, which is Achal.
It's not
Let's
necessarily
see.
like a grammar thing, but it's interesting that the people are what make they are the ones that can make it harem. Harem, I just never noticed that before. Just a
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder what that like that.
Yeah,
That's my
you
question. Yeah.
bring into
Well-
disaster, throw into confusion, ruin. You're a ruiner of Israel. What was that?
I just wonder
That
what
you didn't
what
understand that people were the ones who caused the Cherem?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where like it was pronounced over the city when Joshua announces it two verses ago or whatever.
Mhm.
But he lest you make it and you take it from it. It's just yeah. Does that make sense? I'm not using full
Yeah.
sentences, so it's just
Good.
never noticed it before. It's interesting.
I don't know if anybody, since we got a break real quick before the next verse, we've got 10 minutes left or 9 minutes left of our session, but Dr. Kip Davis has his channel on YouTube, and he is a Dead Sea Scrolls expert, and he's published in the Dead Sea Scrolls work, and he does a Hebrew reading group as well every other Thursday at 3 a.m. Israel time. Don't know what time that is in the US, but at some time. Right now in Israel, it's 9 minutes to 1 o'clock in the morning, and we'll be finishing up here at 1 o'clock. I remind everybody, if you could, please publish our stream. We need more people watching and more people interacting. And also, we're up to 7 viewers. It's better than what we were at 2 when we started. It's really nice to have you guys, and we like Modus put on here, Modus Trollins, right? We appreciate the deep answers, gentlemen. Yes, indeed. We will do our best to answer any question that you have whenever you're participating on the live stream. And later on, if you want to drop a comment down in the comment box below, we will do our best to answer every comment that we get. And we do try to do our best. Yes, I should have mentioned Dr. Josh Bowen. Josh Bowen is also an amazing person in biblical studies. And so please come and watch Kip Davis and Josh Bowen do their readings online. And often they have guest readers as well. Great. If you like Hebrew, there's lots of options, and we want to keep them open and keep it going. All right. Verse 19 of chapter 6, we are back to Mr. Luke.
Okay. וכל כסף וזהב וכלי נחושת וברזל קודש הוא לאדוני, אוצר אדוני יבוא. So, and all the silver and gold and all the vessels of copper and iron are holy. I guess all of it is holy, kodeshu, to God. And this otzal, I take it to be maybe like this, like hamachane. It should be brought to the. It should come to the treasury of the Lord. Is that?
Yeah, the treasury. I would take it as a treasury.
The treasury,
the place
of the
where
Lord,
they collect the money that belongs to the service of God. That's an important thing in religion.
The BHS apparatus has Yuva instead of Yavo as well, if y'all didn't notice that.
I didn't notice, but Yuva is the imperfect of the hufal. It will be brought. No, great. Well, kesef is nechoshet. Nechoshet, you rendered as bronze.
No, nechoshet's copper, I thought.
Copper, bronze, nechoshet. I really don't know what the difference is between copper and bronze, and I think nechoshet has that ambiguity too. Kodesh,
copper,
as far as I know.
Copper is a natural one, and bronze is a mix, I thought.
Bronze is tin and copper, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a mix, yeah. So it could be either one. I have no idea. Maybe we just have to go look and see.
Yeah. So the phrase Kodesh Ladonai is also something that was, I believe that it was on the hat of the high priest, and it was on different places, like in the temple. I think where they, if I don't remember incorrectly, On the Temple Mount where they would blow the trumpet, like there was a space for them to blow the trumpet over the city. I think that it was written Kodesh Ladonai also, but it had something like L'Tuah or something. I can't remember what was written there. But anyway, Kodesh Ladonai is a fixed expression, and Kodesh Hu Ladonai is indicating it. It is Kodesh Ladonai. Great. And I think we got time for one more for Colton to grab, but it's a long one.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Mhm. Accent? Where's the stress?
Vayara. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yep.
the form is Yaria. Whenever it goes into verb consecutive, it shifts accent. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Vayara ha'am 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪𝗓 b'shofrot vayhi kishmoa ha'am et kol hashofer vayariu ha'am teruah gadolah ותיפול החומה תחתיה והעם העירה איש נגדו וילכדו את העיר.
So twice I heard where this is hard and this is also hard, where I heard ch.
Okay.
It is k. So kol hashofar and yilkedu, not yilchedu. This is full vowel, not shofrot, but shofarot and shofar.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Mm-hmm.
God. Yeah. It just
Mm-hmm.
And the people shouted shofars.
Who's the they?
Priest. The people.
The priests were the ones carrying the.
Okay.
Carrying the
Right.
trumpets,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when the people heard the sound of the shofar,
Mm-hmm.
the people shouted with a great shout, with implied, but yeah, they shouted a great shout,
Which is called a
𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪𝗘𝗧.
great cognitive accusative. Good.
We gotta love it. And the wall fell in its place.
Mm-hmm. Like under itself, like straight down, like the World Trade Center, right? Just fell straight down. Vatipol hachoma. Choma is feminine singular, so tipol is feminine singular, right? Good.
People went up toward the city, to the city. Something like each the head, everyone, something like that. Each man before him, maybe. Yeah. And they captured the city. And
I wonder if that means like ish negdo. I wonder if it's like kind of like in rows, like they're all going up. Like I'm not sure. Not sure how is it translated. You know, in the regular translations, there aren't crazy people like us. Let's see. The Revised Standard. This is verse what 19, 20. Ooh, we're moving. People shouted, trumpets were blown. They made it a passive. That's annoying. As soon as the people heard the sound of the trumpets, they raised a great shout, and the wall fell down flat. So the people charged straight ahead into the city. And capture charged straight ahead. That doesn't. I don't know. NIV. NIV says, every man charged straight in. Straight in. So negdo would be opposite him, maybe opposite him, like in the city, like opposite straight ahead. Maybe. That makes sense. All right. Vaya'al is what form? Vaya'al.
Oh, it's a nice one. It's like vaya'am. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It would be vaya'ale. Vaya'ale. The hay drops up on the end, and then this syllable, which is, remember that the every shva is a shva, so this represents a guttural with shva, and that is a consonant cluster that is resolved with patach. Vaya'al. Vaya'al. And he went up. It's the exact same form, vaya'al, for and he offered up, meaning like he sacrificed something. Vayal and Vayal, Tal and Hifil are identical. Any questions? We're at the end of our hour. Colton was going to say something. What'd you say?
No, Dr. Kip Davis brought it up, but the play between the word snake and bronze. I was thinking of the Moses story when he lifts up the snake in the wilderness, but he was using the one from Genesis 3. But yeah, I was just glad he brought it up.
Good, good. And it's a bronze snake, right?
Yeah, so it's like
Bronze snake.
Nechtan is what I think it.
Yeah. Nechostan.
Yeah, no, I made it as white and as southern as I possibly could. So Nechtan, not Nechostan.
And he says he's been writing about Genesis 3 all day with the Nachash that tricked the woman, right? Great. Brilliant. Okay. We are at the end of our hour. It's been exactly 1 hour, 12 to 1 where I am. In half an hour, we will be starting grammar translation exercises from Wine-Green. We're doing exercise 13 today. So I don't know who will join us. Jonathan he's feeling ill, so he's not going to be with me. I don't know, Colton, maybe you want to join me in half an hour?
I'll be there.
I think I put the link. I put the link up on the Patreon site for paid members. If anybody wants to come to the English to Hebrew in another hour and a half, Hebrew to English now for everyone in half an hour. What else to say about that? I don't know, but I'll send you I think I've shared the link to the document with you already. Luke, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah,
again,
no problem. It's fun. I like the
really
reading.
enjoy this.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we will see you in half an hour for Wine-Green, whoever's going to make it. Luke, have a good night. Rest well.
Yeah. Okay. Good night.
Bye, guys. I'm Yisrael Chai.
Yeah.
I'm Yisrael Chai.
I'm Israel.